So get up. Top of the morning to ya.
Good morning, everybody. 33 minutes after the hour. Welcome to the Sunrise Show. Craig Fernikin. A little bold, extremely fun. News Radio 880 KCMX. And I want to welcome onto the program Dr. Mark Christian. He's a born-again Christian, born in Egypt, and came up through the Muslim Brotherhood, and then decided, no, that wasn't for him. And in his medical studies, he's an MD, but also an OBGYN specialty, and then has come to the United States and started the Global Faith Institute. GlobalFaithInstitute.org is his website. And Mark, it's great to have you on this morning.
Good morning to all your listeners, and it's great to be on your show, and it's an honor, and thank you for having me.
You know, with everything that's going on, the Middle East, the this issue with Iran, and I saw your posting on Facebook over the weekend. It was very interesting, and you were, and I was, and it was coming out a little bit in this GPS on CNN with Fareed, and he's talking about how President Obama and working with Iran, but Iran, the Sunnis and the Shiites. Explain that a little bit to our listeners, that allowing Iran to kind of go through on this nuclear deal. They're also the ones that are kind of, what did I see? The only union in the region, the only statehood, the only country in the region that's fighting ISIS.
That agreement is about 160 pages
Right.
between the international community and Iran. And it is full of details that many people, and myself even, did not grasp yet. But the few points in it that needs to be highlighted is that it is far from peaceful. And the reason I'm saying that, because there is few points that we need to highlight today. The first one is the release of $150 billion that has been frozen for quite some time. And the second thing is the elevation of any kind of embargo or regulations on Iran taking in or trading in conventional weapons. And the most important point is the giving Iran the right to work on ballistic missiles, either buying or selling or even obtaining from other countries, and working on making them locally as well. And when I look at those points, I don't see it as a peaceful kind of an agreement whatsoever. It is, making Iran a powerful nation in the Middle East right now more than it is, and economically and militarily to be able to has a big saying and force in the Middle East, which for some would look at it as something good because they are for ISIS, but at the same time, the fight against ISIS is not going to end by the Iranians whatsoever, because actually Iran fighting ISIS is fueling the violence more and more every day, because they are Shia and the ISIS is Sunni. So by Iran fighting ISIS, it is nothing but gaining ISIS more power and more people to fight with them.
You know, it's interesting, and I saw in that I have that downloaded, that 159 pages. It's so amazing. And what's amazing to me, they talk about the inspections. This does not include all of the sites. It only includes the prominent sites that they will be inspected, and it includes none of the military installations. And you're thinking, oh, this is basically useless.
And away from all of that, actually, there is 28 days period for any kind of international inspectors to go to Iran and investigate anything in Iran. So it is giving enough time for the Iranians to hide whatever they want to. And when Mrs. Rice, from the White House, has been asked about that point, she said that, the international, community in the United States and others has a sophisticated equipment to trace any kind of nuclear activities going on, which is far true and not factual because, looking for, kind of radioactive materials will be triggered by those, equipments, whether it is peaceful or not. So it is not something that, really on working for our behalf. Plus, investigators and inspectors has been trying to nail Iran onto the nuclear weapon for years right now. They have not been successful, as everyone knows.
No, they haven't. And I wondered, you mentioned this 150 billion, and it was so interesting. I caught this little blurb. I mean, just on top of the 150 billion was this 13 tons of gold that the Iranians, that was frozen assets, and they've now been able to ship. And you're thinking, wait a minute, they're just winning on all fronts here. I guess with the nuclear issue and staying on it, because that's kind of come out, they're not going to address the hostages, they're not going to address any of the other stuff. What are the other countries thinking and saying, or are they going to be in lockstep with the U.S.?
The Middle East, all in general right now, at this point in time, making fun of the U.S. and jokes and very, provocative kind of jokes about President Obama and his administration in the Middle East altogether, which is not uncommon, but it is, getting more and more tense with the Iranian deal. Plus, right now, this is triggering kind of a race of obtaining nuclear weapons from Saudi Arabia and from other countries that is in the Middle East who are capable to buy it and to start the race in the Middle East of nuclear weapons. And how is that going to look like and how dangerous that is for American interest and for the whole humanity altogether.
What's interesting is they talk about now what's happened is because of this issue with Iran and nuclear weapons and all the other countries over there that want to protect themselves, they don't want to be taken, quite frankly, if Iran decides to do something or fall under the thumb of Iran. So now it's a nuclear arms race. I mean, the Saudis, they weren't really too worried about it, but now they are.
100%, the Saudis are worried about Iran and they will never give up on worrying about Iran. And they see this agreement as agreement for the Iranians to obtain nuclear weapons. It is legitimizing the nuclear program altogether, and also at the same time giving them the right to obtain nuclear weapons. Not if it's not right now, it's 15 years, because this is what the agreement itself spells, that after 15 years there is no regulations and there is no kind of restrictions in Iran to obtain nuclear weapons, because the term will be all over. And at this point in time, Iran, if Iran follows with this agreement, and this is if, and that if is very, very shady and questionable, Iran will be in 15 years an economic power that is not able to contain anymore, a military power that will never be able to contain anymore, and the nuclear power that is not going to be contained anymore, and they'll be ready to start their program. If at that time, it was the beginning of their nuclear program, lethal program, then it will be a matter of a couple of months before they obtain nuclear weapons.
Well, that's it. And then the experts are talking about that this is really a Sunni Shiite issue, so it turns right into a religious war, and this whole issue is going to turbocharge that all throughout the region.
100% true, and we can deceive ourselves as much as we want to that Islam is the religion of peace and there is no political agenda for Islam, and there's just very few bad apples that doing what they're doing. The reality, things is far from all of those kind of allegations. The fight between the Sunni and the Shiite has been going on for 1,300 years. It will continue going on. You just need to listen to any kind of a mosque, message or any kind of imam or any kind of gathering for Muslims and talking about those things. So it is, the fact is not aligned with all the allegations going on in America and in the West that Islam is the religion of peace whatsoever, and it has nothing to do with, the fight is just over there by a few bad apples. That's far from true, and it will never be true. And until we face the facts heads on, we are not going to be able ever to confront them, and we'll ever be successful. We are losing every day, and we will continue losing. Look at America before 9/11 right now. Are we on the right track or on the bad track? Just look at it from that perspective. Look at it after a few years right now. Are we on the right track or not?
Well, you're absolutely right, and I had one expert, and we'll come back after this break and talk about that. He said, you look at the threat levels and where were we a year ago, and it's getting worse. It's not getting better. So, ladies and gentlemen, we've got Dr. Mark Christian from the Global Faith Institute. The globalfaithinstitute.org is his website, and we'll talk more about that when we come back. Get to a quick break on the Sunrise Show, and then let's do that. We'll take your calls as well. 541-772-8255. Oh, it's nuts, but I tell you what, Americans need to be vigilant and be watching, and Dr. Mark Christian brings a great perspective to this whole thing. All right, back after this quick break on the Sunrise Show on News Radio 880 KCMX.
It's my life, and it's now or never. 'Cause I ain't gonna live forever.
Good morning, everybody. 50 minutes after the hour. Welcome back to the Sunrise Show. Craig Fronikin, and we're continuing with Dr. Mark Christian from the Global Faith Institute. Globalfaithinstitute.org is the website. And Mark, I've always said that the website has got so much information, and it features, your information, your books, how to support, what's going on. Talk about Global Faith Institute in the heartland and how people are appreciating getting the information, because that's what this show has always been instrumental about, is giving the people the information that they can find for themselves and verify.
We are starting over here in the Heartland as an organization. We were established a little bit more than 3 years ago, and we are working tirelessly to educate the public about the times that we live in. And our platform is, a ministry, but we are going far from that, actually, because we want to reach everybody and every American and every Western about the threats that's going on around them in the time that we live in. So we started 3 fun groups. We are starting a group that will be able to go to universities and schools to educate the younger, and the next generation with the message of Jesus Christ, and also with the message that patriotic, to love their country and to understand the times that they live in, and just kind of clear up all the misinformation that's going on around them. The other thing is we want to go and reach out to the religious institution of America and try to help people at churches to understand what's going on around them and what is the threats around them. Because we see that there is lots of churches trying to avoid the subject matter and try to, have a message that is just welcoming and supporting, but avoiding the subject matter altogether. And also we are trying to reach out to government officials to educate them as well. We are in a very interesting times, Greg, and you know that, and we need to start doing something.
Well, and here's the next thing, is you're absolutely right. Christianity and Christians and their churches, no matter what house of God it might be, the whole issue of Islam has been from afar, and the U.S. way, United States Americans way, is to welcome freedom of religion, but we've never had Islam as a religion that is more of a political agenda than anything else, because none of the other Christianities are a political agenda. I mean, you could probably push some of into a cult if you wanted to, but that's as much as it's been, right?
100% true. And the problem within America is not only Islam. Actually, Islam is one of the problems of America at this time, and the problem with Islam that is start giving money and support to all other agendas that is destroying America from within, because they are trying to find common ground with each other. And Islam by itself is not going to win in America if it's not going to find allies within America, and there's lots of them. And this is why people need to understand that. People who are hating America and they live and enjoy America, but yet want to destroy what America stands for. There is people who go to churches and go to synagogues and they hate that religious institution, and they are willing to work with the enemy to destroy within. There is a lot of self-loathing in every aspect of America, and those are the problems that you are facing, Greg, And let me shift gear very quickly over here to make people understand. We have this attack by a lone wolfer, that was trying to, he tried to kill as much as military personnel as much he can, and he was able to kill 5 of them. And those are 5 heroes who stood for what America is supposed to stand for, freedom and justice for all. And yet, he enjoyed America, he came to America, but he carried the gun to kill, American soldiers, and I'm referring to Abdulaziz, the guy who, enjoyed America, came over here, and together with his family, and then he enjoyed his high school, his college, he graduated, got a good job, and yet still hates America deep in his heart, that he was able to pick a gun and kill other Americans. And the media still to today asking, we are wondering, what is the motive for Abdulaziz to do what he did? And this is by itself is crazy. Years after 9/11, and you still don't know the motive of Mohammed Abdulaziz by killing American soldiers on American soil. You still don't know the motive for that? That's by itself is unbelievable.
So tell us, Dr. Mark, I mean, the motive is to take down the infidel, correct?
He himself put blogs out there. I don't know why we don't even believe what he says. He says that he's fighting for the cause of Islam. He's defending the Prophet Muhammad of Islam. He is so proud of his name, that his name is Muhammad, named after the Prophet, and he wants to kill for those that is offending Muhammad or killing any Muslim person. He looks at the other Muslims the same like every Muslim thinks, that they are his brothers, and anybody attack one of his brothers, then he's going to wage war against everybody that is supporting or working or on the other side. He looks at Islam as one front, and the rest of the world is another front, and he has to fight. All of those his own words, not mine.
Exactly right. And Mark, you bring up a great point, and I'll tell you, these are nuggets, ladies and gentlemen, that come out when we have our discussions with Dr. Mark Christian from the Global Faith Institute, because of his knowledge, because of what he stays focused on everything, and he has the love of Jesus Christ in his heart. He's a born-again Christian, but he was so schooled and watched it right before his very eyes when he was, born and raised in Egypt, and that is that this whole Islamic radical piece is in our face, and Americans and American leaders simply aren't addressing the issues. And here the media is running around in circles with their hair on fire, practically, and it's...
Look at his lifestyle, Greg, and I agree with you 100%. Look at his family lifestyle. His dad is beating his mom. He himself enjoying everything America has to offer, yet he hates America in his heart and writes about that. He goes to American school and gets, graduation from American school, get his American citizenship, pledge allegiance as a lie to America so he can get his citizenship. Yet in his heart, his allegiance is only to Islam and to Islamic State, and he has nothing to do with whatever he's enjoying. It is all about his faith and his religion. And this is the problem that you're facing in this country. If you look at Muhammad Abdulaziz, days before he launched the attack, his friends, his neighbors, his co-workers, his college, people going with him, they're all going to say this is a good example of a great American citizen who enjoys America and is a very peaceful Muslim. Yet, you see what he did.
Oh, well, Mark, unfortunately, we're out of time, and it's great to have you on, but let's do this again real soon and talk more about that. Anyone has any more questions, check out globalfaithinstitute.org, and I got wonderful booklets on there, and it's just great to have you on, Mark. So thanks so much. Have a peaceful week, and continue your mission on what you're doing out there. It's really great.
Thanks for having me.
All right, take care. We'll be back more on the Sunrise Show. Got to get to a quick break, and then we'll be back.